Happiness. Welcome back to this special America 250 edition.
We got a nice astronomer here.
Campagno here with my co-host, and also joining us today, Fox News anchor and White House correspondent Aisha Hasmi, Fox News political analyst Lisa Booth, and Fox News at Night anchor Trace Gallagher. Now the festivities are just getting started. Today we have a front row seat to an incredible display of American and Allied naval power. 40 historic tall ships, along with American military warships, are sailing up the Hudson. Lucas Tomlinson is reporting live from New York Harbor. Lucas.
Well, Emily, I can feel the excitement all the way up here on the Hudson, about 2 miles north of you ladies, and Trace there in Liberty Island. And doesn't the Statue of Liberty look extra beautiful today? A nice gift from the French on July 4th on this day in 1884. We just saw, as you mentioned, an impressive demonstration, not only at sea, but in the air. We saw just about every U.S. military aircraft in the inventory. We saw B-1, B-2, B-52 bombers, we saw F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, we saw F-5, we saw Navy COD carry-on board delivery aircraft, E-2s. It has been amazing. P-8s, we go on and on and on. We also saw some of our international allies. We saw the Red Arrows demonstration team. They actually closed it out with a fitting tribute. Went well with King Charles' message delivered earlier today. We saw French aerial demonstration team. I even saw the Emirati aerial demonstration team after a few months in Dubai. Easy to spot them. The tall ship parade has concluded, but what a sight it was, ladies. You saw parade past you there. It was really impressive. We saw ships from Peru, Colombia, Chile, all over the world.
Same to you. Good to see you.
Impressive. Just behind the camera, we have a Danish frigate, not one of the ones that went to Greenland earlier this year, but we have ships from all over the world. The USS Kearsarge, amphibious assault ship where Vice President J.D. Vance was aboard. Perhaps he chose that ship because it carries 2,000 Marines. The Vice President, the only former Marine to assume the office. USS Nimitz, the oldest commissioned aircraft carrier in the world, out there in Staten Island as well. And ladies, Trace, it's been an incredible afternoon to celebrate the country's 250th birthday in my natural habitat here at sea.
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you as always for your service. And while most of us are celebrating, some Americans are criticizing the shining city on the hill, and President Trump is calling them out. During his speech in front of Mount Rushmore last night, he warned Americans about the threat of creeping communism.
A generation after we fought and won the Cold War against the menace of communism is a mortal threat to American liberty. It is the greatest threat to our country, including World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. I wouldn't let this happen to us. Leave me with anything that happened. You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America. You can be a communist, or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both.
The Democratic Socialist movement has gained steam in primaries across the country. Some candidates have won
Gonna
their
get a
races
parade car next year, Joe?
refusing to condemn violent
You go buy yourself a parade car next year?
attending anti-Israel events after October 7th, and promising to defund police departments and even abolish the border. It's sort of crazy, Trace, to read this out loud and think that this is indeed what people are
She's
voting
about
for right now.
out of gas.
First, I just want to say Lucas Tomlinson, I mean, he's got this
It's been
insane
quite a
routine
last 2 or 3 weeks have been pretty tough.
the aircraft and the ships going
My
over
lower
there.
back
Just
is
a
killing
pleasure
me.
to watch him all day. Just
Lots
kinda
of picking
give us
up and
some
putting
information
down.
on what was happening above us and
We're good, though.
Yeah, you look at what's happening in the Democratic Socialism of America.
We live close by. You have to come and visit us.
Seems to be
Kind of. Garfield and Adams. I mean, excuse me, Garfield and Maine.
You look at Nithya Raman in Los Angeles, you look at it in
Yeah,
DC,
no.
in Chicago.
It's slightly different than that, but
areas
it's
of New York where we
within a
saw
block of there.
Donnie Sweet. And it seems to be Seattle another one where you have this idea that it's exploding, and it is, but it's not really catching hold. When I talk to some people, what they get concerned about is this thing kind of getting a foothold in Texas. When it gets some kind kind of energy and steam in Texas, then they start to be concerned. So there is some concern about some of the areas where it's not just natural. And they're more concerned about the concept where DSA seems to go hand in hand with anti-Israel and really anti-Semitism to a certain extent, where it's been so normalized that it just seems like part of the campaign. It used to be this hate statement. Now it's a campaign statement, and it really is kind of a shocking and stunning thing to realize that's happening to this country.
Right, Trace sort of paints this portrait that we've been feeling where it used to be localized, and now it seems like a rising tide that it's raising up in all of these cities and states that you never would have expected it before.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, I don't think it's being blown out of proportion, because what's happening is when all these communists get to Washington, D.C., they're going to push the Democratic Party further to the left, and we're already seeing it with people like Hakeem Jeffries.
Good job,
on the
Nikki.
left,
Good direction.
embracing it. And yesterday, we saw dueling visions for America. We saw President Trump from Mount Rushmore recently this week talking about the belief that America is this exceptional country. And then you have Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, from George Washington's desk, telling us that America is irredeemable, telling us that America is racist, telling us that it's built on the backs of immigrants, by the way, from a guy who became a U.S. citizen just 8 years ago. And President Trump, we should heed his warning. He warned us of newcomers coming to America that want to destroy the success of America, saying that they don't believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of freedom. They believe in death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. And Zohran Mamdani painted that vision for us. The next demonstration of what President Trump was warning us about. And what Zohran Mamdani said is that he's worried about wealth being consolidated in the hands of oppressive few. But what does communism do? That's exactly what it does in the hands of government. It's government.
Good job, Billy.
And it takes wealth away from people like what he criticized, Elon Musk, who came to America, who's done the right thing, who's built, who's created, who's innovated, who, by the way, saved our astronauts from the International Space Station with SpaceX. And it takes the wealth away from him and puts it in the hands of ideologues and party insiders like Zohran Mamdani, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, who have never done anything with their lives. And that's the problem with communism, and that's how communism kills a country. So I think we should heed the warning of President Trump. This is here. It's a threat. And the reason why we're still free 250 years later is because we have preserved freedom and liberty in America. We have to continue doing it.
So, Kaylee, it's clear that we know what we're talking about, but the targeted population are those impressionable ones. So what can the GOP do to ensure that this insurgency stops where it is?
The single biggest task the Trump administration has over the next 2 years and some change is to prosecute the case for capitalism. And it needs to be a clear vision of this is what capitalism has done and this is what socialism has done. And you saw the president begin to do this last night, the vice president do it this morning. What has socialism and communism given us? Over 1 century, 100 million people have died at the hands of these insidious ideologies. Look at Venezuela, a once rich and thriving state, decimated. Cuba, the same thing. What has America given us? Democracy, capitalism. America's given us advancements in modern medicine, eradicating smallpox, polio vaccine, world-renowned universities, charted the human genome. That's what capitalism did. You look at Discovery, the Wright brothers, the first in flight, the light bulb invention, the telephone, the assembly line, television, the Apollo program, sending man to the moon, developing the internet, private philanthropy, the Peace Corps. I could take the next 10 minutes and list off everything that capitalism has done, not just for this country, but for the world. And it is the single most important task. We talk about the high cost of living, important. We talk about the economy, important. Iran, the war with Iran, important. Nothing is more important than making this case, because it is the case for future generations and for keeping our democracy and saving our republic. I know that sounds existential, but I really feel like we are at this crossroads, and the administration gets that.
And that's exactly what Trump underscored last night, Aisha, was that our greatest enemy is not these world wars in the past or Pearl Harbor. It is truly the threat of communism threatening to rip apart the fabric of our republic.
And I think you're going to see the president get back on the campaign trail a lot more. There was a little bit of a pause there because of the Iran conflict, and now he's starting to get back out there. You're going to see that a lot more because they've said the White House